Hello, my name is Charles. I'm doing a series on multiple minute interview stations. This one is on resilience. 6 a.m. flex, but I'm tryna get through to you. Diff time zones, but I'm tryna get through to you. Mama with the pressure, but I'm tryna get through to you. Tryna get through to you. At them. Got me in my feelings when I think about you. And this what happened when I think about you. Got flashbacks trying to take me back to you. Damn, heat though terminal. You never said bye, was subliminal. I was never in your plans, it was intentional. But it what we took off, it was conventional. I want you to read this station with a friend. Your friend will be the student who we're talking about, and you play yourself as the medical student that's speaking to them. Or you can record yourself and sort of imagine what you would say to this person, or write down the structure and approach of how you would say. And then after you've done that, you can press play and hear my breakdown of what I think you should include in your explanation and your scenario. So it says that you are a second year medical student at university and you've started the year in a new case-led group session, and one of your group mates is constantly being disruptive. They're messaging on the phone throughout this whole session. You found that they're not actually preparing for any of these sessions, and they often give brief, unhelpful answers when asked to answer questions by the tutor. You notice they simply take the notes at the end of the session, and they're actually the only ones that are benefiting from all this, and they're not contributing much for themselves. At the end of the session, you find yourself alone with the student. What would you do in this situation? First thing that you have to do when you look at a situation is ask yourself, what is the examiner looking for in this situation? The interviewer is looking to see if you have the skill set for you to actually support your peers, especially if you're doing a problem-based learning type. They're also looking to see if you have good communication skills. These can be verbal, non-verbal, and the type of language and how you would approach this situation. So it's important you get those two elements done very well, as there will be marks on the mark scheme for these two things. Where we need to start is by defining what problem-based learning actually is. Problem-based learning is where, instead of learning in a traditional way where you get lectures where they give you all the information that you need to know, they'll give you a situation, a scenario. Let's say, for example, they're talking about cystic fibrosis. They'll probably describe a patient who has cystic fibrosis and the symptoms that are going on, and then they'll ask you guys to go off and actually go and work out what's actually going on, work out the pathophysiology, work out the symptoms, the presentation, how you'd manage this patient. And this is done in small groups. So this would require teamwork, it would require all of you chipping in ideas, require all of you doing prep work coming to the session so you can actually share to the group. And in this way, it allows you all to have a full range of notes of what's actually going on. Instead of it being drip fed to you, you all have to do the research, work, come back together, and the facilitator looks at what you've done and says if it's appropriate or if it's not. Now, this allows us then to focus onto what the actual problems in this scenario actually are. So the first problem that we have, this person is being constantly disruptive. So they're interrupting the flow of the sessions and how smoothly the sessions are going. They're messaging on the phone, meaning they're not very engaged, their mind is elsewhere. And also, one could say this also disrupts the morale and the motivation of the rest of the group as well. The lack of preparation. So if the information is coming from everyone and everyone is contributing in this session, if this person hasn't done the preparation, so there's no notes, there's nothing that they can give to the group. They're also giving brief, unhelpful answers when asked by the tutor. To me, this relates to their poor preparation and also how they're not really engaging and how they're not really focused in this. Their mind is elsewhere. And the final problem that we're finding is this person is just there, they're not contributing, not giving anything, they're taking the notes, and then they're just calling it a day and going home. Now, moving on to your approach to the situation, you have to realize this station has been written in a way which puts the student that you're about to speak to in a negative light. They've highlighted all the negative points of what's going on. Yes, this person could be lazy, they could just not be bothered to do their work, and they just have a strategic plan of just benefiting from everyone else who's doing work. But equally, there could be something that's more serious that's happening. It could be a family issue, it could be the topics that you're discussing at hand that are upsetting them. So it's important when you go into this situation, when you approach it, you need to go with a neutral mindset. You can't go in on the attack, and also equally you can't, go on a sympathetic note because you don't know what's going on. So the first thing that I would do when approaching this person is I'll just start with normal conversation. So I'll be like, hey, how are you? How are things going? They reply, and then you'll be like, how have things been lately? Then they'll tell you how things have been. And then this is a good way for you to introduce yourself to them, and they'll reply to you. you, and it's showcasing some of your communication skills that you're able to start a conversation with someone. And then after you've done the formalities and the introductions, you're going to try to introduce the subject at hand in a soft way. I would say, I've noticed you've been a bit distracted in the cases lately. Is there anything that's going on? Is everything okay? This is a soft way of saying, you know, I've noticed you're not pulling your weight, you're not doing what you're meant to be doing. But it's also in a non-judgmental way. You're not accusing them, oh, you're not doing this, why? And this creates room for this person to feel comfortable so they can open up to you and tell you what's actually going on. And after you've done this, more times likely the actor of the station will probably not give you much, or they will give you a little bit of a reply, and this is to try to see how you would cope if they don't reply properly. So what you're going to do is you're going to try to think outside the box and try and push further and say, are you not enjoying the topic? Something that's happened that's upset you, you know, or is it the tutor that's teaching us that you're finding it hard to learn from them, or the teaching style? So in this way, you're going to push other avenues to see what's actually wrong. And at this point, this is where the person will actually start to open up and to try and tell you what's going on. It's about teasing it out slowly, not being too forceful and working on what they're giving you, and just being persistent, but being persistent not in a badgering way, not in a forceful way, but in a calm, collective way, so they give you the information that you're looking for. When the actor finally does reveal information of what's going on, what you need to do is to acknowledge what they've said and acknowledge their feelings. For example, if they say, I'm struggling with this PBL case because it's about breast cancer and my mother has currently been diagnosed with breast cancer. In this situation, you're going to say, I can understand why it's very tough for you to be present at these sessions and have to hear these things about breast cancer. And at this point, you're going to think of ways that you can suggest that can help them. So you're going to say, have you thought about talking to student well-being and seeing what they say? Maybe you could get some time off for you to recover and think about these things. Have you thought about speaking to the tutor? And maybe you can skip some of these sessions if they're upsetting you till you've recovered and you've gotten over it. It's just about thinking about sensible suggestions of things that you could do or things that can be a help. So it shows that you're supporting your team member and you're there for them, and that you would be a valuable member in your case-based learning group. And that's pretty much what the situation is. So if we're just going to recap, remember this kind of situation is looking to see if you're a good team player, is trying to see if you can support some of your peers that you'll be studying with when they're going through difficult times, and also your communication skills, verbal and non-verbal. Your non-verbal skills are going to come forward by you leaning forward, or when they say something that's upsetting them, touching them on the shoulder. If they start to cry, giving them some tissues, or if they're speaking about something that's very personal, just giving them some space and letting them speak, leaning forward, just showing that you're listening and you actually care, being empathetic in the way how you handle yourself and even in your replies.
Damn, he throw timing on. You never said bye, was subliminal. I was never in your plans, it was intentional. But it what we took off, it was conventional. Hey, now you're international. No finger to the dial, but you never go. Do I ever cause your mind, guess you never know. But I wonder